The Young and the Restless spoilers shock. There was a time in Genoa City when Cain Ashby was considered a charming outsider. A man with a murky past and a silver tongue, whose path into the upper echelons of society came not from lineage, but from persuasion, adaptation, and relentless ambition. But no one, not even Victor Newman, could have predicted just how fast Cain would rise again. Disappearing from the public eye after a string of humiliations and personal collapses, he returned not just changed, but reborn. And with him came wealth. The kind of wealth that makes people nervous. The kind that doesn't come from good fortune, it comes from strategy. Or secrets. Now, Cain is a billionaire. Not just well off. Not just comfortably successful. A billionaire. Private jets. Sealed investment deals. Overseas accounts. Rumors whispered about foreign assets, a mysterious trust, and maybe even a shadow figure he once served but has now outmaneuvered. Some say he inherited a vast fortune from an unknown source, perhaps a forgotten relative, or an enigmatic benefactor in Australia. Others say he was simply in the right place at the right time, reaping the rewards of market crashes and digital loopholes. But those who know Cain, truly know him, understand that nothing about his success was accidental. He made sure of it. And now, he's come back for the one thing money still can't buy, Lily. Lily Winters had moved on. She'd found peace in chaos. Survived scandals, prison time, betrayals, and public disgrace. And through all of it, she emerged not bitter, but stronger. She became a symbol of resilience, graceful, but unyielding. And standing beside her in the shadows of this new life was Damien, a quiet, humble doctor with no fortune, no fame, and no ulterior motives. He didn't come with yachts or wine cellars or promises of opulence. What he brought Lily was simple loyalty, kindness, stability. And for a woman who had spent too long swimming in the murky waters of ambition and betrayal, that was more valuable than gold. But Cain wasn't done with her. He found her one evening, just outside the Abbott estate, where the winter air clung to the trees and Lily had gone to collect her thoughts after another exhausting round of corporate meetings. He looked immaculate, tailored suit, watch gleaming, hair slicked back like he'd just walked out of Forbes magazine. He didn't approach with anger. No, Cain was always more dangerous when he smiled. And smile he did. He told her everything. The money. The trust. The offshore companies. The fact that he no longer had to chase anyone, the world now came to him. And then he leaned in and whispered what he truly came to say, "This is yours too, Lily. Everything I have, it could belong to you. Not Tracy. Not anyone else. You and me, like it should have been. Come back. Just say yes." Lily's silence stretched like ice. She looked at him, the same man who once left her broken when she needed him most. The man who had run into Tracy's arms when she was in prison, too cowardly to stay by her side. The man who claimed to love her, but always seemed to love himself just a little more. And now he was back, not to apologize, not to earn her love, but to buy it. What he didn't realize was that Lily had changed. She was no longer the girl who dreamed of fairy tales. She was a woman who had walked through fire. And no amount of money, not even the staggering empire Cain now flaunted, could erase the memory of who he truly was at his core. "I'm not for sale," she told him. Calmly. Firmly. Cain laughed it off, as if she were joking. He spoke of security. Of how Damien, good man though he may be, would never offer her the life she deserved. That the world wasn't fair, and love without power was just poetry, beautiful, but useless. He said she was being naive. But in that moment, Lily realized that Cain's greatest flaw wasn't his arrogance. It was his belief that everyone else was just like him. She turned and left. And that should have been the end of it. But Cain doesn't accept rejection. Not from Lily. Especially not when she chose a man like Damien over him. And slowly, quietly, he began his campaign. Not just to win her back, but to ruin what she had. He started by digging into Damien's past. He paid hackers, investigators, anyone who might uncover some shameful secret, some hidden mistake. When that failed, he offered Damien a job, a high-paying, research-heavy opportunity overseas. A dream offer for someone with bills and responsibilities. Damien declined. He said he didn't want to leave Lily. That's when things turned ugly. Whispers started circulating at Memorial Hospital. Questions about Damien's credentials, about prescriptions he signed off on, about a patient who had died years ago during a routine procedure. False accusations. Anonymous calls. Damien was placed on leave. Lily stood by him. But the pressure mounted. Her board at Chancellor Winters raised concerns. Shareholders whispered that her judgment was compromised. Kane smiled from the shadows. Still, Lily didn't waver. In public, she held her head high. But in private, she cried. Because Kane had found her one weakness, not greed, not status, but family. She had always been loyal to a fault. And now she was being asked to choose, the man she loved, or the legacy she helped build. And Kane was counting on her choosing power. But what he underestimated, yet again, was that Lily didn't fear losing it all. She feared losing herself. And she refused to go back to a life where her choices were dictated by threats and guilt. Kane had built an empire on manipulation. Lily had rebuilt her life on truth. And the war between them was no longer about love, it was about freedom. In the days that followed, Lily gathered evidence. Not just about Kane's attacks on Damien, but on his entire empire. Shell companies. Fraud. Money laundering through foreign charities. With Amanda Sinclair's help, she began preparing a case. Not for court, but for exposure. For justice. For closure. Because if Kane thought he could walk back into her life and offer her diamonds, he had forgotten the most dangerous truth of all. Lily Winters doesn't need anything from him. Especially not his money. Let me know if you want the next part. Perhaps Kane retaliates by exposing a secret from Lily's past, or Damien's real identity isn't as humble as he claimed. Or maybe Amanda and Lily go public, and Kane's empire begins to collapse from within. 6 years. That's how long Kane Ashby disappeared from the world that once rejected him, from the family that fractured, from the woman he once called the center of his universe. 6 years cloaked in silence, reinvention, and a dangerous kind of ambition that only grows in the dark. And when he emerged, not as the man everyone remembered, but as Aristotle Dumas, the world didn't recognize him. They admired him. Envied him. Feared him. But they didn't know him. Because no one really knew what it took to become Dumas, except Kane himself. The transformation was breathtaking. Gone were the suits that didn't quite fit, the half-apologies, the earnest stumbles through corporate warfare. In their place, power. Precision. Elegance. The Dumas name echoed through private equity circles in Switzerland, philanthropic galas in Singapore, black market real estate in the south of France. His assets were hidden behind layers of trust funds, his influence stretched across oceans, and not a soul dared question his legitimacy. Because how could they? He had become the kind of man who didn't ask to sit at the table, he owned the table. And yet, if you look closer, you'd see the blueprint. A man reinventing himself from nothing. Throwing lavish events under a false name. Cultivating mystery, seducing powerful allies, living not in the present but in pursuit of a woman who lived in memory. Kane didn't just become a billionaire. He became a living, breathing Jay Gatsby. Only instead of Daisy, he had Lily. And the question now, burning at the center of Genoa City's hottest, most emotionally volatile triangle, is this: did Kane do all this out of love, or out of obsession? At first glance, it's romantic. A man spurned by life, by fate, by his own cowardice, returns in triumph, fortune at his feet, to reclaim the one thing that ever made him feel whole. But The Young and the Restless isn't a fairy tale. It never was. And Kane Ashby isn't Gatsby because he's tragic, he's Gatsby because he's dangerous. Because when a man builds an empire for a dream, what happens when the dream no longer wants to be claimed? Lily Winters is no longer the woman Kane left behind. She's stronger, wiser, hardened by betrayal and softened by a new kind of love, not the grand, dramatic love of operatic sacrifice, but the steady, nourishing love she's found with Damien. A man who, while lacking fortune, possesses character, compassion. The kind of quiet strength that Lily had never experienced during the chaotic days of Kane's schemes and apologies. But Kane doesn't see that. Or rather, he refuses to. To him, Lily isn't just a woman. She's the proof that his transformation was justified. That all of it, the money, the secrets, the persona, was worth it. Because if Lily takes him back, it confirms everything. But if she doesn't, the entire illusion collapses. He becomes a man who changed everything and gained nothing. And that's where Amanda Sinclair enters, not just as a brilliant attorney, not just as Kane's current romantic partner, but as the woman caught in the gravitational pull of a man who may never truly be hers. Amanda believed she and Kane were building something real. She believed she saw the truth behind the Dumas mask, the hurt, the humility, the redemption. And maybe for a while, that was true. Maybe Kane did love Amanda. But maybe he also loved the way Amanda believed in him. The way she made him feel like he could start fresh. Until Lily came back into focus. Until the past whispered its seductive promises again. Because nothing destabilizes a man like Kane faster than a reminder of what he lost. And the whispers began. Kane, behind Amanda's back, talking about Lily. Not with malice. With longing. With reverence. With phrases like, "She's the only woman who ever truly understood me." With looks that lingered too long when Lily entered the room. With silence when Amanda asked if he still had feelings for his ex-wife. And now, Amanda knows. Maybe she overheard it herself. Kane's quiet confession to Devon, or a slip of a journal entry left open on his desk. Or maybe Lily, in a moment of brutal honesty, told Amanda the truth, that Kane still believes they belong together. And Amanda, for all her poise and professionalism, is left gutted. Because she has always been second to someone else. Second to Hillary in Devon's heart. Second to justice in a broken legal system. And now, second to a fantasy Kane refuses to bury. The betrayal cuts deep. Because Kane didn't just lie. He used Amanda to complete his performance. To polish the illusion of a man who had moved on, who had matured. But Amanda sees now that Kane didn't change, he just put on a more expensive suit. And now, the triangle ignites. Lily, caught between two men, one who offers her quiet love, and one who offers her the world. Amanda, burning with betrayal, but still wondering, was any of it real? And Kane, unraveling beneath the weight of his own delusions. Because the truth is, Kane never became Dumas to build a legacy. He did it to rewrite his own history. To erase his shame. To force fate into submission. But fate doesn't work that way. And neither does Lily. The fallout is inevitable. Amanda may leave, but not without consequences. She knows where the bodies are buried. She knows the offshore accounts, the shell corporations, the forged documents. If Kane thinks Amanda will walk away quietly, he's forgotten who she is. Lily may forgive. But she will not return. Not to Kane. Not to a man who spent 6 years chasing a dream instead of healing the damage he caused. And Kane? He may still have the fortune. He may still command power and influence. But he's about to find out what Gatsby learned far too late: you can't buy back the past. Let me know if you want to continue with Amanda exposing Kane's entire empire out of revenge. Kane attempting a last desperate romantic gesture to win Lily. Damien revealing a secret of his own, changing the dynamic entirely. Or a shocking twist. Kane's fortune isn't real, it's built on fraud. And it's all about to collapse. I'm ready to continue the saga however you'd like.